John Lott is the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. He joins me now along with Caroline Levitt, Trump's 2024 press secretary, and good to have you both on. John, you study crime for a living. The media claims America is getting safer these past few years. What do you say?
I don't think they understand the crime numbers. Look, there are two sets of numbers from the Department of Justice. One is the FBI data on crimes reported to police, but that's only part of it. We've known for decades that most violent crimes aren't reported to police, and definitely most property crimes. About 40% of property crimes, violent crimes are reported to police, only about 30% of property crimes. We also, because of that gap, have something called the National Crime Victimization data from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, which tries to get at total crime. Now, if they had said in these reports that reported crime is down, that at least would be honest and accurate. But there's been a huge increase in total violent crime. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, during the Biden administration, violent crime, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assaults have gone up 55%, a 42% increase in rapes, a 63% increase in robberies, and a 55% increase in aggravated assaults. This contrasts sharply with the 15% drop in total violent crime that occurred during the Trump administration. You know, people go to a CVS or a Walgreens and any place from New York to Chicago to Los Angeles, and they see that many of the products are behind plexiglass. In order to go and buy something, you have to have a store clerk come over and unlock things and stand next to you while you read the packages to decide what to buy. People know that that wasn't true a few years ago, but it's much more than just property crimes that have increased.
Yeah, it's everything, and people can feel it. And Caroline, it's just so it's so disheartening. It's so terrifying that they're doing this to our country, and they're figuring out every possible way to conceal it rather than fix the problem, which means that they want this to happen to your country. And all I can think is that they're thinking about this great reimagining of what America is, and to start over, you must first decimate the old version of it.
Mm. The media doesn't care about the victims of crime across this country. They don't care about Jocelyn Nungare, who was brutally raped and killed and left to die in a creek in Texas. They don't care about Rachel Morin, nor do they care about Laken Riley, because they want Democrats to get elected. And Democrats don't care about these victims either. Kamala Harris has not reached out to any of the women or their families that I just mentioned. You know who has? President Trump. President Trump has gotten to know the families of these victims of these brutal acts of violent crime. And once again, President Trump is right, and the media has been proven wrong. As John just laid out for you, violent crime is in fact up under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's administration. And if Kamala Harris is given the chance to be president of this country and implement her weak on crime policies that she has supported her entire career, defunding the police, eliminating cash bail and freeing violent criminals from jail, decriminalizing illegal border policies, sanctuary cities, America is going to turn into a sanctuary for illegal immigrants and violent criminals, and it will turn into a crime-ridden hellhole for American citizens. It already is. Look at Democrat-run cities. That crime will spread to suburban and urban communities alike across this great country. And what does Kamala want to do for law-abiding citizens? Go into your homes and confiscate your guns. Those are her words. That is who she is. She's a dangerous radical liberal. The only candidate in this race who will ensure law and order is President Trump. And that's the difference in this election.
Yeah, John, I mean, I'm sure you've thought about this. You study these numbers. You've probably thought about the ideology. I want to ask you, I mean, they know how to prevent crime. We've done this for a long time. They don't do it, and they spend more time trying to conceal the information and spin the numbers rather than just fix the problem. Why would the left want to live in a country that's getting more and more dangerous? Why are they so desperate to keep it this dangerous that they're actually figuring out ways to lie to you and to skew the numbers so you don't know it?
Look, I mean, I think people have an idea that law enforcement's collapsed in this country, but they may not know exactly how much it has collapsed. If you look at large cities, for example, in the 5 years before COVID, 44% of violent crimes resulted in reported violent crimes resulted in arrest. By 2022, it had fallen to 20% of reported violent crimes. For reported property crimes, it was down to 4%. We've never seen such low numbers. And if you look at total crimes, arrests as a percentage of total crimes, only 8% of total violent crimes result in arrests, and only 1% of total property crimes result in arrests. We've never seen such incredibly low numbers. And as you say, it's not rocket science. If you want to go and reduce crime, you make it riskier for criminals to go and commit crime with higher arrest rates, higher conviction rates, longer prison sentences. You know, the irony is that in some sense, at least Democrats are consistent. They don't want to have law enforcement make it risky for criminals to commit crime. And they don't want victims to be able to go and protect themselves with the strict gun control. So they don't want to make it risky because victims are able to go and defend themselves. But it's, as I say, it's not rocket science, and I'm sure you understand that.
And Rob, if I could just jump in and tell you that this past week, our campaign has been calling mainstream media reporters, trying to get them to report on this new data from the Department of Justice, the crime victimization survey that John is talking about. We hosted a press call with hundreds of reporters. John was on it talking about this data, and we couldn't get one mainstream media reporter to actually write about these facts and these numbers because it doesn't fit their narrative. And it's so frustrating to sit here and to know the truth, and President Trump is talking about the truth, and they're so quick to fact check him even when they're wrong. And David Muir needs to apologize to President Trump for his wrong fact check on the debate stage about this on Tuesday night.
Caroline, that's exactly what I was going to ask you about. And the point is ABC will never apologize for that, because if they did, it would have to be reported, and it would decimate all the gains that she's made in that debate, because they have to play off like that debate was perfect and she won, and it was just, and it was fair. At the end of the day, if he did lose that debate, and I think a lot of people optically think that he did lose that debate, there's a reason why, and the reason why is because there was 3 people playing against 1 person, and it was wholly unfair. The fact checks were fake, and they didn't fact check her at all. John, I got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, if they wanted to go and say reported crime to police has gone down, at least they'd be accurate. But total violent crime, total property crime hasn't, and there's a reason why reported crime has gone down, and that's because if you're not arresting people, people don't see much of a point to go and report it to the police. And so you've had a drop in reported crime, despite the fact that you've had a huge increase in total violent crime.
Yeah. I tell you, if somebody mugged me in New York City, I wouldn't call them. They're not going to get. What are they going to possibly do? This is happening all the time. You know it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a pain in the butt. It's going to take more time than it's worth, and you're not going to get your stuff back. So what's the point? John, Lott, Caroline Levitt, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Rob.